Once, long ago.
I'm here for the war. I think I'm late actually. About 100 years late. I was actually drafted for this war, but couldn't find my pants or my gun or sword or cape until about last week. But at least I'm here. Better late than never, I always say. Guys? Hello? I don't think anyone's here. Here we are. I successfully dodged a war that happened 100 years ago. Hooray! Wait, what's this? No. Whoa! Oh. Where am I? Why is everything black and white? Why does my voice sound like this? Uh-oh. I think I went back 100 years. I think it's the war! I got destroyed by some monsters, and I am now dead. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, the newest game from the Zelda series. I actually reviewed the previous game, Hyrule Warriors, last week, so check that out if you want to. The game came out last week, on November 20th, and it's the prequel to Breath of the Wild. The main point of this game is to show the war from 100 years in the past. The event that happens completely predictably at the end is that everybody else except for Link dies in the game. And Breath of the Wild, everybody's dead at the beginning, which means that everybody is dead at the end of this game. Very sad, I know. The game, right off the bat, seems inferior to the previous one. There's no adventure mode. No other mode, actually. It's just the story. Yeah, the map is big and more engaging than the bland story mode map of the other one, which is nice, but in a way I prefer how simple the first game's map was, and at least it had a crappy map in addition to a bunch of other modes. This game has a really cool map, but no modes apart from the main campaign. Whether this gets better, only time can tell. So I want to talk about what was in the demo, basically, the first chapter, just like I did last week with the first game. Age of Calamity opens up with a cutscene of the king being angry because monsters are invading the kingdom. Instead of fighting them himself, this guy decides to make his teenage daughter do it. Dad of the year, everybody. So while sending his daughter to certain death, he yells out a battle cry that is really cool. Bring death to Hyrule! Wait, that's not it. Who wrote this? You got the wrong line, Steve. Steve? Oh wait, Steve was on vacation. I wrote that. So the good guys go to battle, yada yada, fight the bad guys, yada yada, beat up the bad guys, yada yada. Lotta yadaing. And that's pretty much the first scene of Chapter 1. The second scene of Chapter 1 is about the good guys heading out towards some research lab. Also, Impa is there. Forgot to mention that Impa was involved in the first battle. She just kind of shows up, actually, for no reason. Kind of like I did. And the hero Siah Guardian, the thing that just really gosh darn wants to kill them. They do some things, defeat the Guardian, and ba-bam, we're at the research lab. They tell us to go get the champions, and we're supposed to set off from there. And these champion guys are supposed to be super strong! Unlike in the first game, where everyone just went, there is actual voice acting in this game. Voice acting comes from Breath of the Wild, and in that game it's not seen too fairly often, only at major events. This game has voice acting everywhere. In Breath of the Wild, voice acting was hit or miss. If it was good, it was really good. If it was bad, it wasn't complete trash, but it wasn't good. But Age of Calamity changes that. The voice acting is much more prevalent, with each battle having a few cutscenes apiece, normally one before and after the battle, and all voice acted. Even the little loading screen where the backstory is told has a narrator. Hyrule Warriors 1 had this too, and it might even have been better in that game, but it's really appreciated here. I know, I've been comparing this game to Hyrule Warriors like the first one a lot so far, and it's not entirely fair to Age of Calamity. The first game is at a huge advantage. Age of Calamity is meant as a prequel to Breath of the Wild, which means that they can't really get too crazy about it, because they have to stick to a certain limitation. It has to look, sound, and pretty much be almost exactly like Breath of the Wild, just with Hyrule Warriors kind of gameplay. Whereas the first game had no limitations. It could do whatever it wanted. Hell, it took inspiration from every other Zelda game, whereas this one is taking inspiration from one. And yeah, Breath of the Wild is a great game, but if you really think about it, the main point of Breath of the Wild is that Link is pretty much by himself. Even though the Great War is like a nice core idea, you know where it ends, and there's really not too far you can go with it. Yeah, Hyrule Warriors did not have this problem. The developers could kind of just do whatever they wanted, because the story didn't have to matter. They literally made up a few characters to play around with. There was no prequel to stick to, no mainline story to fit into, no expectations, so they got to come up with wackier ideas. But Age of Calamity has those restrictions, so they kind of have to be more conservative about it. Again, these criticisms are not to discredit Age of Calamity or Hyrule Warriors as a series. Whether you like the Breath of the Wild art style to death, or wish the game looked unique, kind of like the first game did, you're valid either way. Age of Calamity is somewhat limited by the story it has to stick to, but that in no way makes it bad. The game, all in all, is pretty good, with or without the idea of a prequel it has to stick to being. There are a lot of problems with it. I promise, I'll talk about some of the good things, but here's a quick montage of all the bad things. Woohoo! Number 1, and the biggest issue, there's no adventure mode or anything. It's just the big Breath of the Wild map. And I don't know why there's nothing more than just the main missions and some side quests. Adventure mode was the best part of the first game. Why is it not here? Number 2, the map can get confusing. I understand they want it to be just like Breath of the Wild, but if you aren't paying attention, you will completely miss over some stuff in the map. Luckily, there are little fast travel map pinpoints, but if they weren't there, yeah, you're not really going to understand this for the most part. Number 3, the combos and gameplay. Even though it's similar to the first game, there's something more fluid about how Hyrule Warriors plays over how Age of Calamity plays. I don't really know why, but if you've played both, you will see a difference. Number 4, the limiting story of Breath of the Wild. Yes, I know that Breath of the Wild is great, but 95% of the game is Link by himself. There are next to no characters, and even then the story of there was a war 100 years ago and everybody died can be limited if you only have a few characters to work with. In the main campaign, you will find 14 characters. Link, Zelda, and Impa, the 4 champions, and a few others as well. Most of these others are people of the same race as the champions, so that's a limitation right there. Hyrule Warriors, the first one, has well over 30 characters, and all of them were different and unique. Not all were fun, but all were unique. Breath of the Wild is great, but this game being tied to it so heavily is really hindering. Breath of the Wild is about Link's journey, but a war game should be about the army, as opposed to just one of its commanders. So those are the 4 biggest problems with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Is it a good game? Yeah, definitely. You should check it out. But between Age of Calamity and the original Hyrule Warriors, especially the definitive edition on Switch, the original is better, at least so far. Remember, I haven't fully played through Age of Calamity yet. I'm only on Chapter 2 of who knows how many. There doesn't seem to be an adventure mode right off the bat, and although it would be bad business to make it accessible only after story mode is beaten, there's a possibility it might still have one. Or maybe it doesn't. Point is, the game's good. Hyrule Warriors is one of my favorite games of all time, and although Age of Calamity is a dip in quality just due to creative restrictions, it's still not terrible. It's actually really good. It's not even bad. The game's pretty good. I don't like to rate games very often because the 0 to 10 scale kind of doesn't tell you everything you need to know, but if Hyrule Warriors is 9 out of 10, then Age of Calamity is like a 7. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's great. Like, great good. It's really fun. Characters are cool. It's nice to have an actual prequel to a Zelda game for once. There are just some problems with it. But it still doesn't have an adventure mode! Guys, I'm finally here! Really? The war is over. Aww. Guess the war wasn't over. See you next time. Hey! Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it, and it's just very nice. Thank you so much. We are nearing 100 subscribers. Hopefully we can hit that by the end of the year. I don't know. Coming up is December. We have about 3 months. Not 3 months. We have about 3 videos in the month of December. Hopefully I can get all of them out on time. when this is posted tomorrow, I'm having a small surgery to get my wisdom teeth removed. So it'll probably be maybe like a week where I'm just like not doing anything. But also coming up soon is the official launch of the SM22 channel coming back as Siah the Second. That's going to be very exciting when that happens. So make sure you go sub to that channel. It'll be linked down below for sure. And there are a few other things that I probably should mention as well. First is that videos are good. We're going to be hopefully ramping up production in 2021 to maybe like 2 Siah the Second videos a week and 1 Siah video every 2 weeks. Something like that. We have Kanar, who's making the thumbnails. He's very good. Follow me on Twitter for stuff, for reasons, I don't know. Join the Discord server. That's very important. And we'll see you in the next episode of Siah. Thanks so much, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.